Hello and welcome to another edition of the Scoutcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Joe.
And my name is Andy.
Andy, welcome everyone in the live chat who's joined us early on. Welcome and welcome to all those who join us in the future during the show, because I know there's a action-packed game going on that we've all got assets in, no doubt, from Brentford and Southampton. Meanwhile, Andy, what is coming up on the show?
So we're going to have a quick recap of Game Week 21. Obviously, Game Week 21 is still going on at the moment, but we're going to just have a quick recap as to how we got on so far. We're going to be looking at Double Game Week 22 because it's going to be a massive Double Game Week, and we need to have a look at it. We need to have a look at the Double Game Week teams. We need to have a look at chips, whether we're best to use them, whether we're best to save them. Obviously all team dependent, but it's good to have a bit of a chat about it. We're going to have a look at the next 4 fixtures after the Double Game Week, which I think is actually a really important thing to do, because I think a lot of people are getting a bit tunnel vision of the Double Game Week, so it's good to talk about that. Going to look at Alex's team, and then we're going to have some quick fire questions at the end as well. And I should mention, we are going to look at my potential free hit this week as well.
Indeed we are. So we're going to look at Andy's so-called bus team, the team he could go into the game week with if something unfortunate happened with a bus, and also his free hit team, should he survive that. So we'll compare them as well, because we will talk about single game week players as well during the show, and this is something that can be forgotten in the excitement of a double game week. Just want to say hello again to those in the chat. Sean, Trond, Jack, Joey, Sekhmet, Michael, FPL Sparta, Paul, and all the others. Thanks so much. Do remember to press that like button, and thanks a lot for your kind comments so far. So I've got a picture of your team so far, so we're just going to quickly recap on that. Here we go. And for the benefit of those listening to the podcast, it's a picture of some jam. It's some jam there, which I've taken from my kitchen. And why have I got a picture of jam there for your team?
Oh, I've been very jammy. So I benched Saka. He was second on my bench this week, but Watkins didn't play. And then somehow Livramento, who's first on my bench, didn't play either. So I am getting those lovely jammy 6 points off my bench. So very, very lucky there. Yeah, I've done okay. I brought in Diop and Gray for a hit, took out James and took out Bernardo Silva. So that hasn't paid off yet, but obviously Diop's got another one to play, and I did think that Gray had another fixture. But apart from that, I mean, Lloris I brought in last week, getting me 8 points. I'm very, very happy with. Son getting me 6 points. Antonio, I captained Bowen. He's getting me 10 at the moment. So yeah, I'm looking fairly good at the moment. I think I'm on 47, so I'll be on 53 after Saka, and I'm up to about 60k, so I think it's about an 8k green arrow at the moment.
Very
so
nice.
Yeah, fairly happy.
Very nice. Okay, mine's less jammy. So here's mine. So after last week's Scoutcast, I was saying, well, I'm gonna take it easy. There's not, things are beyond our control. I just want to get through this game week. So my nice and easy plan, was to do Lacazette to Antonio. Nice and easy. And then Luke went and posted from his Man City source on Twitter that Foden had COVID about half an hour before deadline. This is a reliable source of his, so I trusted it and removed Foden. The only player I wanted was Son, and it would have cost me a -8 to get him. I thought that was worth it if I got a West Ham defender in. So it would pay for itself. And the weird thing is, so I've essentially removed James, Foden and Lacazette for Antonio, Son and Diop. And I'm actually weirdly up on the deal, no matter how bizarre those moves sound. So I'm about 3 to 4 points or so up on that, because as you can see from my bench, no one else played. Watkins didn't play. Gallagher didn't play. Livramento didn't play. So it was just Martinelli coming in. So it was really only Lacazette that was a player that actually would have got me any points, and that was 2. So I'm on 44 -8. But Bowen captain, the mighty Diop, who might get who might add. I believe he scored 8 goals. He scored like half a dozen or so goals in his 80-something appearances for West Ham. Who knows? Maybe he'll add another this week. And I've got Antonio as well, obviously. So, hopefully, it's a small red arrow at the moment it could turn green. To be honest, I'll accept grey. I will even accept a tiny bit.
Yeah, just a bit.
So yeah, we are going to focus very much on the double game week players. Remember those single game week players. But Andy, you said before we came on air you wanted to say something about rough with the smooth.
Yes, so rough with a smooth this week. We'd not obviously finished the week, so we didn't put out a rough with a smooth to say, could you give us your stories? But what I wanted to just talk to you about, and Joe, I wanted your kind of opinion on this as well, is a lot of the rough this week has been those people that have either free hitted or have brought in Everton players for -4s, -8s. And my discussion I wanted to have with you, literally just for a minute, is can we say that is rough if they played their free hit or they did a -8 to get Everton players in, knowing what's happening at the moment with COVID? Is it sensible to be making those kind of moves with a double game week when the other game was a week and a half away from playing? Is that rough or is that just silly planning? And that's not me having an opinion yet. I just wanted to just have a 1 minute discussion on it, basically.
No, I think it is rough because the players we're talking about here, say Calvert-Lewin and Damari Gray, are relatively cheap. They're not break the bank, ruin your team type players. You can get them in for hits. Also, they're the kind of players that you perhaps might not want long term. You might want them, so a free hit is good there. And I think, I used my free hit 2 or 3 weeks ago. I can't even remember when, at some point. But I was faced with a -12 to get a team that wasn't even 11 players out that I wanted, or it wasn't even 11 players. So some people would have been in the position. They would have seen perhaps the Foden injury as COVID as well, and they would have looked at that and gone, well, look, I'm going to get a -12 or it's a double game week. Let's just go for it and free hit. And I don't think that is bad planning. It's because, what's transpired is something, but it could have gone the other way. Any number of these matches might not have happened. Any number of them might have done.
So, because for me, I agree with you. I think it's rough. I think you can only play with the information you've got at the moment. And for the people that did it, I think they made good decisions. But do you think there's something we can learn from that? Do you think that's something that people shouldn't be going for those risks? Or do you think it's just, like I just said, you play with the information you've got, and if it's a double game week, you go for it?
I think we were given that extra free hit. It was like a Prezi. It was like, COVID, mayhem with the schedule, and FPL gave us an extra free hit. I personally used mine. I was up on it, but not as much as I was hoped, because I got Salah in and captained him, and it was where he got one of his rare blanks. I believe it was his only blank in 177 appearances at that time. And so the outcome didn't weigh that. But I'm pleased I played it then, because it was just, it's like a present. I was using it. And I think anyone else who used it this time. And perhaps you might be asking this question because you might be tempted to free hit this week as well in the midst of COVID. So is that why you're asking that?
Yeah, kind of, a little bit actually, because I was talking to Rockstar before we came on, and he's in the chat. So evening, Rockstar, and we were talking about, is it a good time to use it? Do we use it later on when it might be easier, or is it going to get easier? And it was just a really good discussion in terms of, is this a good time to use a free hit? Because are these games going to get postponed? And you think Leicester are one of those teams, and they've got a double game week, but they're struggling to get 8 players out at the moment. So yeah, I think when we talk about my free hit later, I think we'll probably be touching on that, won't we? Yeah,
I'm just going back to that point. We talk about Leicester, but it was a point that Tom made to me on the captaincy video earlier today, was the fact that Leicester, they've got quite a large contingent of players at AFCON. They've also got quite a high number of injuries. So for them, 2 or 3 positive COVID tests, that's it. That is game over. They just literally cannot field the amount of people. Whereas other teams, 2 or 3 cases, that's fine. So Man City, for example, 2 or 3 cases, that's fine. They've got about 20 other superstars. And they're not quite so hit by some of the international issues there as well. So, yeah, look, it's a risk, isn't it? I'm sure we're going to talk about whether to go Dullard and Maverick, but I think using a chip in the midst of a pandemic, I've got to say, it's Maverick, but that's not to say it's wrong. It's just, you know your risks. Shall we move on?
Yes.
Double game week is exciting. So, let's have a look. Let's see. Well, first of all, let's have a look at some fixtures. Find out who it is that's double game, who's have got double fixtures. So it's Burnley, Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Leicester, Manchester United, Tottenham and Watford. They all play twice. Out of those, Watford probably have the best On paper, they've got Newcastle and Burnley away. Tottenham, Arsenal and Leicester. Manchester United, Villa, Brentford. Leicester have obviously Tottenham, but also Burnley. Chelsea, Man City and Brighton, so potentially tricky there for attackers. Brighton have Crystal Palace. Anything can happen in that in the derby they all talk about. The A23 one, whatever it is. And Chelsea. Brentford have Liverpool, Manchester United. Does it get any worse than that? Well, I suppose Liverpool, Man City would be the worst one. And then Burnley, Leicester, Watford. And then also on this slide I've got the whipping boys, the worst defences. Something we also showed on the captaincy video, the last 4 matches. And this shows that Watford, Leicester, Newcastle and Leicester, Leeds, Watford, Newcastle and Leicester are the worst in terms of expected goals conceded. Tottenham, Chelsea, Brentford, City, Arsenal and Brighton are amongst the better ones, the better defences there. So that might help some people's decision in terms of defences to target. So a bit later we'll look at your free hit team. Should we just sort of just dive into the teams and have a look at their latest stats?
Yeah, go for it, definitely.
Okay, let's have a look here. So let's go for Manchester United first. Now, once again, all of the stats are put up on screen, last 4 matches, and this shows in terms of expected goal involvement, Ronaldo is head and shoulders above everyone else there in terms of expected goal involvement. Then you got Cavani to a much lesser extent, Fernandes even lesser, and then it just goes on. It's just, it gets so bad really that you start thinking about McTominay and thinking, oh, okay, he's quite good, and it's sort of come to that really. But yeah, anyway, so for Manchester United, you're considering free hitting. Who are you thinking of?
To be honest, it's really tough. It's made me realise actually how good a captaincy option obviously Salah's been, because you look at some of these other players, you start looking at United, you start looking at Spurs, and even in a double game week, you're not looking at them thinking, I can trust this captain even in a double game week. And I think if you're going to free hit, I think Ronaldo's got to be somebody you look at, because he'll most probably play both games. He's going to be on penalties. Against those 2 teams as well, you'd expect us to score, even though we are struggling at the moment. And apart from that, I think David De Gea is probably the only other one that I would really go with, because we are keeping clean sheets at the moment because we're playing such a boring style of football. We are keeping clean sheets at the moment, so probably De Gea. It's tough to pick a defender because they're all rotating at the moment. Obviously, Telles, Dalot, they're rotating with Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. Maguire's out, and kind of Lindelof and Varane are kind of sharing time at the moment as well. So I think for me, if I was picking my top 3 players I would go for, I think Ronaldo would be at the top. I think De Gea would be second. And then I think Bruno would probably be third personally, because if Ronaldo does miss any minutes, then obviously he's on pen. So I think I'd struggle to pick any others.
Well, I was watching the Villa, the FA Cup game. This is as full strength as it could have been for both sides really. And Fernandes and Rashford, they just look. It's been documented, but they did look bored. and in comparison to players like Watkins, Ings, Buendia, they were all over the shop. They were, ex-lively indeed. They were. If I was a Villa fan, I'd be so happy, and if I'm a Manchester United fan, I think, God, these players, they don't look happy. So, do you get that as a Manchester United fan? What's going on there?
Yeah, there does seem like there's some unrest. It's really tough to say what's going on at the moment. I think because he's a temporary manager, there's allowed to be a little bit of unrest, and people are just like, because they know that he's not going to be there for very long. And there's a lot of egos in that dressing room, and it's not looking all hunky-dory coming out of there, unfortunately. I find them very, very hard to invest in long term, but in a free hit with 2 nice fixtures, it's hard to not look at them personally. But yeah, it's not looking good to own him. And when Ronaldo, if you're going to invest in him, and he's 12.5 million, he's tough to hold, because you're not really going to want to captain him either. So, yeah.
I look at him as I've got him in my team, and I'm not quite sure in what hot-headed flurry of hits he came in, but he came in at some point, and I've got him in my team, and he'll be my captain, partly out of default, because I can't think of a better captain in my team that I've got. And so I think, strategically, if you're a Salah owner, and he's obviously out for a couple of games, it's just a couple of games, you could bench him, but it's a lot of money to bench.
It is.
And there's a lot of good cheap midfield options that we'll talk about as the show goes on. But a strategic move would be to make sure you've got that Salah money somewhere in the team, so you can easily in 2 moves just get Salah back again. And Ronaldo or indeed Kane is a good way of doing that. And that's why that sort of argument is why some people are going for Fernandes as well. But as we can see from the latest stats, expected goal involvement, Ronaldo expected to be involved in more than 3 goals. He's scored 2, got an assist, so he's hitting his expected stats. Fernandes has scored none, assisted none, and is expected to be involved in just over a goal. So to me, that's not a player to invest 11.6 or whatever he is now in. So, Salah owners, I think Ronaldo or Kane is a good way of keeping that money in an easy way of getting Salah back. So no, I do agree. I think I do worry if you're somebody that has still got Salah. I'm wondering whether it's worth just holding him now for 2 weeks, because if you're moving him to Ronaldo, that's going to take you -4 because you're going to have to move those funds across, and then to do it all over again because you're going to want Salah back. I'm wondering whether probably holding now. You've taken the hits on his price, and probably just hold him now, and then look at me. I mean, my team, I've got 6 million in the bank. I could go up to Ronaldo if I wanted to, but I think I look at players like Dennis, Antonio, Watkins. I want them over Ronaldo, even though he's got a double game week. So I think it's a really tough dilemma people have got. I can understand people going for him, especially if you're going to captain him, but I almost feel like someone like Dennis or King I almost trust a little bit more, which is very weird for a player like Ronaldo. It's worth pointing out, and some people in the live chat pointed out as well, that Ronaldo and indeed Dennis have got flags at the moment. We think, though, that in both cases they're precautionary. And I think Ronaldo, I don't know who it was, I think I saw a picture of him, looked like he was on a golf course today. So I don't think, he's hardly hospitalised or anything. So I think it was just precautionary. I feel confident that he'll play both, and I think Dennis owners should feel confident as well. That seemed to be precautionary, but it's a tough one. But I think for Salah owners already with Salah, keeping him and just waiting, just riding out 2 weeks with Salah on your bench. We'll discuss that very point when we come to Alex's team, our community team that we're managing, because he indeed has Salah in his team. And we can easily live with him being benched, I think. But we'll come to that later. Do you want to move on to Leicester, or do you want anything more to say about Manchester United?
No. I think for all the doubts I've got about Ronaldo, if I was on free hit, I would have him. I would 100% have him, and I think he'd probably be my captain as well. So I think it's just if you are without a free hit or not using your free hit that week, I think then that's when you've got the kind of decision to make. But on a free hit, I think it's fine.
I mean, as a Ronaldo owner, my smug rating is somewhere around 5 to 10%. So, but nevertheless, I do have that tiny smug rating of having him already. But it's very tiny. Leicester, I find them a bit more interesting, but will they play? As I said, they're 2 or 3 positive COVID tests away from a cancelled match. But it's their midfield really, and this is where Salah owners, Son owners might be looking to invest in a very short term upside punt in midfield. So we've got the stats for Tielemans, Maddison, Barnes and Lookman. I think they're the key ones really. And these show that Tielemans, in terms of expected goal involvement, as you would expect from the penalty taker, is highest. He scored a couple of goals there. Maddison is second, and he's got 5 chances created, 2 goals, but 7 shots inside the box as well, which is more than any other of these Leicester midfield quartet. So he's pretty good. Barnes, not too shabby, 6 chances created, scored a goal, got an assist as well. And Lookman as well was playing up front, I think, with Maddison in the FA Cup. I mean, as I said, they're down to the bare bones. If they haven't got COVID, they're going to play. If you or I would play if we lived in Leicester. I mean, they'll take anyone. But there's some good options here. So, in your free hit, who from Leicester gets the nod for you?
Well, it's been interesting actually because if I knew that they were playing those two fixtures, then I would be very, very tempted to go with two midfielders from Leicester. I really like their value. I really think that they could have good. They've been good attacking wise this year because they know they're so bad defensively that they need to score quite a lot of goals. I think it would be these four that I'd be looking at. I'd also have a bit of an eye and a bit of a watch list on Daka as well to see whether if he is fit to play, because I think he could be a great option up top. I think if he isn't, then Lookman is a very, very good person to look at because it looks like he will be playing up top if that's the case. Maddison, I think, is the form player, and he is the player I would 100% have. He's the one I'm thinking if I don't free hit, I would take Son out for. Tielemans, though, I've always got that bit of a thing with Tielemans because he's going to be on penalties. And you look at it and think, across 2 weeks, you like having those penalty takers because obviously you've got a bit more of a chance of it coming along. So I think Barnes is not a no-go for me, even if they've got hardly any players. I still see him somehow getting rotated in the second fixture. And then it's between Maddison, Tielemans and Lookman for me. I think Maddison and Lookman is the way to go if Dak is definitely out. But I think if Dak is potentially playing, then maybe play him. Otherwise, it's Tielemans and Maddison's for me.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, I've got Son. And like last time around, I thought easy transfer, Lacazette to Antonio. The transfer I have in my head is Son to Maddison. That just seems the most logical thing to do. But will I get 2 fixtures out of him? Well, the second fixture is against Spurs, so we should know a bit more about the first fixture, which is against Burnley, and that's the one you really want him for. But Tielemans, penalty taker for an attacking side during a double game week. I mean, he could get 2 penalties. That's all it takes. He's good at them. You would imagine he's going to score both if he gets them. I would go for Tielemans, Maddison if I was on a free hit or was looking to get 2 midfielders in from Leicester. I think I wouldn't even look at effective own. I don't know if effective ownership's your thing, but I don't really. I think they're all going to be differentials in their own way, especially having a Leicester double up. I mean, Barnes, I guess it depends what sort of manager you are. If you like a bit of flair, go for more maverick, go for Barnes and Lookman. But I like the security of Maddison's starts and Tielemans' spot kicks.
Yeah, I like it. I think for security, Maddison and Tielemans is fine. I think Lookman's a bit of a sneaky play though. I think he's been quite good recently, and I think especially if, like I said, if Dak is out and there's that chance that Lookman's playing up top. I mean, out of position midfielder in a double game week that's cheaper than all the other options. I think you've got to consider it.
Yeah, definitely. I think Leicester Leicester defence not interested. Are you interested?
Yeah.
No,
not at all.
I don't know who they've got left. Schmeichel for saves.
Yeah, but I mean, they're so ravaged at the back, and they cannot defend set pieces. So, I think with the 2 teams they're going up against as well, I think they're going to struggle defensively. But that's good because we want their attackers, and they're going to have to attack.
So the free hit so far is shaping up to be Ronaldo, De Gea, 1, probably 2 Leicester midfielders, Tielemans and Maddison. Take your pick, really, depending on what type of manager you are. Let's have a look at Spurs. So Spurs face Leicester, obviously, but also Arsenal. And North London derby, Kane, great record. Kane also has an exemplary record against Leicester. But part of me just, when that Son injury came in, I just thought, do I want a Kane in a Sonless Spurs? Do I want... And I just that vision of Kane, hey, who's creating for me? And Kane just drifts back, creating weirdly for himself, and ending up with 2 points, and that sort of puts me off. But what do you think? Kane, is he in your free hit?
He is because it's exactly the same as Ronaldo. Not looking that good attacking wise, but he's on penalties. He's got 2 games, and he can very easily get a penalty each game, and all of a sudden he's getting you 14 points in a double game week. So if I was free hitting, 100% he'd be in my team. I think because of the way the budgets are at the moment, you can get Kane and Ronaldo in your team and have a third striker as well, someone like Dennis. I think that's absolutely fine. So I think Kane would be in there. I think I'd probably have a defender as well. I'd have someone like Emerson Royal or Ben Davis or Sanchez, anybody like that, really. They've got some good value there. And I'd be very, very tempted for someone like Lucas Moura. I feel like with Son out, I feel like Bergwijn is out and he's not very happy anyway. I feel like Moura is probably going to get both games. And for 6.5 million, I think with the amount of games they've got coming up, I wouldn't be that annoyed going for Lucas Moura, even if I wasn't free hitting. I feel like he is somebody at 6.5 million that you could have in your team. You could bench him if you need to. I feel like he's somebody you could look at going forward, into the next couple of game weeks as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the stats we've got up on the screen show that Kane is the man at the moment. I've taken Son out of this because obviously we're just looking at available players. So in terms of expected goal involvement, Kane's expected to be involved in more than 3 goals. He's in fact scored 3 goals as well. So quietly, Kane's been actually doing well. And Lucas Moura as well, expected to be involved in over 2 goals. He's in fact scored, but he's got a couple of assists as well. As you said, 6.5. I think if I was free hitting, my midfield would include Lucas Moura, definitely. And he is an option for me to replace, to get in instead of Son, because it's a North London derby and Spurs have a good record against Leicester. So whilst on paper they might be tough fixtures, Lucas Moura, part of me just favours Lucas Moura over Kane, weirdly, as well. But Kane, 13 shots in the box, 8 on target. These are good Kane stats. Emerson Royal, he's the guy who's getting the crosses in, or rather he's getting crosses.
Getting the bonus, isn't he?
He's getting the bonus, but his crosses are they're not good.
Quantities
so it's pointless. He could have 400 crosses every match, and this is just pointless. But nevertheless, he's got 12 chances created, but it's good for bonus. So if they get a clean sheet, good stuff. Ben Davis, I would imagine would start both matches. Created 4 chances, and Reguilon. Not as prolific as crossing as Royale, but he's in my team. I'm happy to keep him. But admittedly, I think if you're going for a Spurs defender, it probably would be Royale, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I think for me, I don't think I would go Royale personally, just because he's at 5 million. I think I'd favour someone like Ben Davis or Sanchez, just because they're 4.5. And I think that extra 0.5 I quite like to use somewhere else. And then I'm not that fussed if I bench that defender. Whereas as soon as they start being 5 million, I start getting a little bit itchy putting them on my bench. So Royale hasn't shown me a lot yet to show that he's going to get an assist eventually, but he is, the quantity's there, so the bonus points are there for sure.
Because I haven't really been looking at price changes recently, I was quite... has Reguilon gone up a lot? Because I don't think I spent 5.4 on him.
I think he's gone up a bit, even though he hasn't been doing anything. There's been a lot of that this year, hasn't there?
Okay. So I don't think I would buy him for 5.4, but whatever I pay for him, I'm happy with. But yeah, I think so far it's shaping up. Ronaldo, De Gea, couple of Leicester mids, Lucas Moura in midfield, Kane. So very, very heavy up top, Kane and Ronaldo, and then someone like Sanchez or Davis. You think?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's quite nice because, I mean, you might not even play them in the double game week. They might just be on your bench in the double game week. But it's not a bad one to have. I don't think 4.5 for a player that's playing twice is fine. Yeah.
As usual with Spurs, the usual caveats. It's Spurs. They let you down. How many fantasy managers have been a bit of Captain Kane for him to get 2 points against Cardiff, 1 point in a double game week against Swansea, and so on. So he is a good captaincy option, but he's also a really bad captaincy option. But I think I'd be because it's against Arsenal and because it's against Leicester, 2 teams he does well against. I would be surprised if you wouldn't get at least 1 return out of him. Yeah,
I'd be very surprised. Whereas, and actually, I kind of feel a little bit more confident he's going to get a return than Ronaldo. Ronaldo's it's just not working at United at the moment, and I feel like I'm more confident with Kane.
I mean, call it my gut, call it women's intuition, but I think Harry Kane could be the best captain this week.
Yeah,
he's certainly.
I do agree.
Yeah. Although, don't trust Spurs. Let's move on. We've got lots of teams doubling. Now this team here, Watford, they really only got two options.
Yeah, that was good. I'm glad you said that.
I'm not putting loads of stats in there. The myriad of whatever they've got in defence and midfield. It's King or Dennis. So last four matches, expected goal involvement, marginally King on penalties. 5 chances created, 2 big chances, 5 shots in the box, 5 shots inside the box, 3 on target. Expected to be involved in just over 1, and just behind him is Dennis, but 6 shots inside the box, 6 on target. He's very, very clinical, and he scored a couple of goals as well, so that's why he's grabbing the headlines. He is already well owned, he'll be captained, so he's going to be mega owned. I haven't got space for him, and he's the player I fear, because a goal from him, that's it, that's huge, that's a big red arrow. So if you are looking at protecting your rank, get Dennis. What is
his ownership? Is it quite high?
I think it was well over 30%, getting towards 40%. It's huge.
I didn't realise that.
Because he is the top or the second top point scorer.
Yeah, 40%.
Yeah, because what happens is, quite rightly, people when they're wild carding or they're making a transfer, I need a forward. Yeah. Sort by points. Well, I'll get that guy. He's 6.1 or whatever. So that's obvious, but he is clinical. But I'm not gonna persuade people from getting him because I don't have him. He's a really good option. He's really well owned. He's really prolific and clinical, and he's got on paper the easiest fixtures. Okay, free chip, free hit, King or Dennis? Who you getting in? Which one?
It's Dennis for me. I hate it because King has the better underlying stats. He's on penalties. Obviously, there's nice fixtures, and like we've already said, you want penalty takers in a double game week. But it's so hard to go against Dennis. I think for me, if I was wanting to go away from Ronaldo or Kane, and I didn't trust them enough to have them, or to only have one of them, I think I'd go King and Dennis. I think I'd go Kane and King and Dennis, or Ronaldo and King and Dennis, and ignore one of the other ones because I feel like they're hard to go against, and I want those King penalties. So, yeah, it's tough. But if it was only one I could have, it would be Dennis personally. Yeah,
I don't have faith in Newcastle's defence. I don't have faith in Burnley's defence. If you've got King, I wouldn't swap. Just King is who you've got. But Dennis is arguably the forward to get. So we got your front line, haven't we? Your free hit front line.
We do, yeah. Which is funny enough is the front line. You'll see it later on.
Okay. So Dennis, Ronaldo, and Harry Kane up front. That's nice and easy. And also nice and easy. You're not considering any defenders or midfielders, so we can move on.
I'm not even sure whether Watford defenders, any of them, have double figures yet this season. Do they?
Do you know what? I don't even know who's in defence. I haven't cared because
I think Cathcart's their highest scoring defender. I think he's not got 20 points yet.
Count me out. I'm out. Too high stakes for me. Let's have a look at Chelsea. Now, mixed fixtures. They've got City and Brighton. 2 good defences. So, last 4 matches. Expected goal involvement, unsurprisingly, or perhaps surprisingly, but he's on penalties, it's Jorginho. And if I was free hitting, Jorginho would be on my list. He's not someone I particularly want long term, especially with they're off in the World Club competition. But he was a player that I was really tempted to get in a couple of weeks ago when he scored his 2 penalties in 1 week. And I didn't do it then. But congratulations to Anorak at Fantasy Football Scout, who did do that move. And so I think the similar could happen again. All it takes, penalty or 2, gets the bonus. What are you thinking? Any Chelsea assets on your free hit?
Yeah, I really like the look of Mount still. I think Mount is somebody that you can trust to be heavily involved. He takes some set pieces too, and he's had a really good season, hasn't he? He scored goals, he's got assists. So I do really like him. He's created 10 chances in the last 4 games there. So I think I would still favour Mount over Jorginho, but again, if we're looking at penalty takers, I mean, if you can pad your team out with penalty takers in this double game week, then you're going to be laughing in a way if some of them come off. But I think I would still favour Mount over Jorginho personally. Werner, Pulisic, Havertz, I've got no interest in. Lukaku, I've got no real interest in either, because I still don't like the way they're playing him, and obviously he doesn't like the way they're playing him after his press conferencing he did. So I think it would just be a defender after that. Really, I think I'd want one of their defenders.
Okay, even though they're against City, is that more with the Brighton game in mind?
I think so, and I think as well because I think Alonso would be the one I'd be going for because James is obviously out, and I feel like if he gets an attack and return and maybe one clean sheet in the double game week, you're laughing, aren't you? So I think it would probably be Alonso I go with.
Yeah, I mean definitely there is merit with Mounts. 7.7, I think that's what he cost when I put this table together. Created 10 chances more than any other Chelsea asset over the last 4 matches. 6 shots inside the box, 2 on target there, and he's got an assist for his troubles. Expected to be involved in just over 2 goals, just below Jorginho. Werner there with 11 shots inside the box in his last 4. Could be a cheeky differential there, but 8.6. It's a lot to invest when you've got Jorginho and his amazing penalties, and Mason Mount with his all-round play there. Pulisic as well, I guess, for the Maverick, and then a defender. So once again, the free hit is shaping up with a Chelsea defender and Mount. So I guess anyone watching or listening, if you can't afford Mount, Jorginho, I still think just get the penalty taker. Don't keep it simple.
Yeah, it's not awful.
I think we can move on. I mean, a lot of these are going to take quite quick towards the end. Yeah. So we've lingered on Manchester United and Spurs and Leicester. But let's have a look at Brighton. So I've got a happier picture, Neil Maupay there. So now you want a differential. The expected goal involvement, the top player in the last 4 matches is Mwepu, 5.9. 4 shots inside the box, just 1 on target. Could have been, unlucky, but he's looked good. He's looked good, I think. They play Palace. That's Derby, so there could be some goals there for Brighton. And who knows against Chelsea? Really, I mean, Brighton are one of those teams. They can score and beat anyone. They can lose heavily to anyone. It's just one of those teams. McAllister, Neil Maupay, Dan Burn is actually 4th in terms of expected goal involvement the last 4 matches. So if you're looking for a cheap defender with goal threat, 4 shots inside the box, he is about 8 foot tall as well. Trossard is just below him. 3 chances created, 4 shots on target. And then Danny Welbeck, Danny Welbeck, if he's fit, he can score against anyone really. You're not keen, are you, on any Brighton assets?
Do you know what? There's 2 I'm quite interested in actually, and one of them isn't on your list.
Okay.
Trossard, I like Trossard in free hits. I feel like he's that kind of player. I just look back to that game against Newcastle in that blank game week. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
When he got a brace and a goal, and I just think he's that kind of player where I quite like him in those just 1 week games. The other one I'm looking at is Cucurella actually. I feel like on a free hit, I liked him this year. I liked him at the beginning of the year, and I feel like as the year's gone on, he's somebody that's just kind of slipped under the radar a little bit. And every time I watch him, I think he's quite good. He gets up forward. He seems quite solid as well. And I know he's a little bit more expensive. I think he's 5.1. He might be.
Yeah, he is.
But I think on a free hit, I don't mind him actually. So I think the 2 I would probably look at was Trossard and Cucurella, and then I think I would probably have Sanchez on my bench as well. If I was having De Gea or Lloris or something like that in goal, I think Sanchez would probably be the player I'd have on my bench.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with that. I think Sanchez is a good backup goalkeeper. I think you could get a clean sheet against Palace. You could get saves against Chelsea. Trossard, yes, if you can't quite afford him, my man Mwepu. McAllister, another option there. And yeah, Cucurella, he's really good for bonus. He gets really involved. He's not necessarily going to get you attacking returns, but he's going to... the bonus point system will consider that he is. And, he could get you the odd assist, but if they can keep a clean sheet, he can get the bonus as well. So very handy for a free hit. I think he's good for... I think he's just a good player to get in, I think. I mean, I would... If I was minded to get a defender in at the moment, long term. I would just get him in. I think he's good for non-free hit as well.
Would you trust Lamptey?
No, it's the thing about Lamptey is his minutes do get managed occasionally. Or once there's the sniff of a twang, sniff of a twang,
Yeah.
using complicated medical terms for his legs, then Potter just benches him quick.
I'm wondering as well whether he's going to get managed till the end of the season, because I'm wondering whether he's going to be going as well in the summer. And obviously, if he gets injured, he won't go. And it makes a lot of sense to make sure he just stays fit, but plays when he can. And I mean, if he could play all the time, he's an incredible asset, isn't he? But I don't really see it personally.
I mean, as a real life player, he's amazing. I mean, he's so cut, so fast. But as an FPL asset, it's not, like, will he be injured? Will he get hauled off? Will those amazing runs actually come to anything? And meanwhile, Cucurella could be the one. I think you're right there. I think you've probably got the right ones. Let's have a look now. Brentford. We're really going to be quick on these ones.
Oof, yeah.
Okay, Brentford. Who have they got? Liverpool and Manchester United. So it's probably the Manchester United game. They might get something. People in the live chat, I'm not actually watching the game at the moment, but do let us know how Southampton and Brentford are doing, and whether Tony's got like 6 goals, so we can talk about him. But in terms of expected goal involvement, it's Mbemo, then Canos, Good, and then Tony, and they're all low. I mean, it's only really Brian Mbemo and Canos who are expected to be involved in 1 goal or more. And it's round 1 goal. So the fixtures are bad. They're not, well, unless people in the live chat tell us otherwise, their form is not amazing. So yeah, no Brentford on your free hit?
No, they haven't been anywhere near it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, the fixtures aren't nice, and they're struggling anyway. So I'm looking at it and just thinking, the striker positions are used up, and the only player I'd probably really, really go with for Brentford is Tony anyway. In Mbumo in midfield, I guess, like, obviously scored a hat-trick in the FA Cup, but got an assist tonight as well. But those positions are so precious in a free hit, where obviously you're not going to be able to use all of them. I struggle to pick any of these. I don't expect anything against Liverpool, not in an attacking sense anyway. And against United, we have been okay defensively. So I'm looking at it and thinking, I don't fancy it at all. I don't fancy any upsets. And don't get me wrong, in double game weeks, there's always somebody that comes out and surprises us, but I don't think it's going to be from Brentford.
No, they are apparently losing the 2-1, and Tony has got a yellow card, so he's on 0 as it stands.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help.
No.
Okay, let's move on. Final one, Burnley.
Yes.
Oh, there it is. I spent ages on this.
Burnley. Yeah.
It's the most Chris Wood slide I could do. Me encased in wood, staring at Chris Wood with the stats of the last 4 matches showing Chris Wood is the best option. Then today we find out that Newcastle are 99% pretty certain they're going to buy him. Like now? Like tonight or tomorrow? So he's probably played his last game for Burnley. What's interesting though, I've hastily crossed out the little picture of Chris Wood that I'm staring at there. So
I've seen this picture so many times.
I'm gonna get it out now for the Newcastle ones as well. When Newcastle get a double game week, I'm gonna be all over this. So the expected goal involvement, Chris Wood is, as you would imagine, the one, but he's probably not going to be there. Yeah. So then, with his 6 shots inside the box, he's taken them a bit further north to Newcastle. And then the best Burnley asset in terms of expected goal involvement is Westwood at 5.3. If you're free hitting, I would consider getting him in as a fifth midfielder, and just because at least he's created 5 chances.
Yeah. It's slim pickings, isn't it? I mean, we've got to look at it and think, is there going to be opportunity somewhere else because Wood's out? So if you were going for, I don't know, it's so tough because the Watford lads are so cheap. Like, your third striker is always going to be someone like Dennis or King. But if you really didn't want to go with them, I suppose someone like Vidra, does this open the door for him to
Yeah.
potentially become a bit of a hero at Burnley again? It's tough to see that, really. I mean, I don't think Jay Rodriguez is anywhere
No.
near playing all the time. Apart from that, Westwood isn't a bad shout because maybe they start really looking at those set pieces and trying to attack them a bit more. I did have Tarkovsky in a lot of my free hit teams as somebody that I wanted to play, but I mean, they're not going to be very happy Wood's just been sold. I would not want to have been that person that told Sean Dyche, oh, by the way, we're selling your only striker.
Yeah.
So
your only good players gone.
It's not good for him, is it? I do worry about Burnley. I think they're on a real downhill trajectory at the moment, and it worries me.
Yeah, they've gone. I mean, it's shrewd from Newcastle because they've essentially wrapped up one of the relegation spots because Burnley will get relegated. It's great for them. And then they get. I saw a stat today. I think there's only 5 or 6 players who have scored 10 or more goals in the last 4 seasons. And that list includes the likes of Mohamed Salah, Harry Kane, Son, and Chris Wood. Lacazette was another as well. So Chris Wood, statistically, over the last 4 seasons, has been the best striker. We're talking about him now. It's almost redundant because he'll be signed for Newcastle. Yeah. He probably won't play for them so quickly. He may well do. But it's for another time. Another time we'll get this picture out.
Yeah. Okay. The best Burnley player that we could have hoped for in a double game week is unfortunately at the African Cup of Nations, and that's Cornet. So
that's why I didn't include him.
If he was there, I mean, it would be lovely. I think a lot of players would have him, but I think the last 2 teams, like you said, we haven't spoken about for too long because unfortunately it's not good looking, is it?
Well, let's look ahead a bit for those that aren't free hitting, or perhaps they're if they are free hitting, they're going to come back to their team in game week 23. The important thing about double game weeks is not to forget the matches afterwards. And ideally, if you're not free hitting, you want to get a player in that you're happy with for a few matches to come, because you might need to be moving players on elsewhere. So for the next 4 fixtures, I haven't got the next 4 as in game week 22. So I've done it game week 23 through to game week 26 there. And they show that Liverpool, Everton, Aston Villa, Man City, Manchester United, and then Watford are the best teams to invest in there. And the worst, Burnley, Southampton, Chelsea, because Chelsea missed 2 for their Club World Cup tournament. Burnley, I mean, as we've discussed, they're relegation bound and they've got awful fixtures: Arsenal, Manchester United, Liverpool. It's like, Sean Dyche, I don't know. He's a wonderful man if he's not depressed by this. And then Southampton have got City, Tottenham, Manchester United and Everton coming up. Leicester are a bit further down there. So, they're against Brighton in game week 23. And then they've got Liverpool, West Ham and Wolves. So mixed bag there. But it's really Liverpool, single game week. Everton, single game week. And then Aston Villa I find quite interesting, because I've got Ollie Watkins and a lot of people have got a Villa asset. There's a very strong chance that they will double in game week 23 because they are out of the Cup, FA Cup, and there's a strong chance that extra game could be Burnley. So it could be Villa against Everton, Burnley, or it could be Villa against Everton and Leeds. Either way, it's good. So I'm going to keep Watkins myself, and I think other people might be minded to. But what do you reckon about Villa? Because I mean, you've seen them play Manchester United, and they look good, don't they?
They do. Do you know what? I think they're building a good team as well. I think if they get Luca Dean from Everton, I think they're being linked with him, and if that goes through, I think that's a great signing. And obviously Coutinho, even if he shows 50% of what he showed at Liverpool, even if he plays 50% of what he played at Liverpool, I think he's a good signing that can make a bit of an impact for him as well. I like Villa because I feel like their players are quite reliable as well. That you know what you're getting from them, if that makes sense. Like Watkins is just a fitness beast. He plays every game, doesn't he? That he's available, really. So I really like him as a player. Yeah. I think you were saying about Ings might be a little bit of a risky pick moving forward because of Coutinho. So I think that's quite interesting to look at. But I like Villa. I think if you got Watkins, you'd be mad to sell now. Yeah. I know you took a Bryce drop last night, but the fixtures are lovely. They've got a double game week potentially coming up. I think you'd be silly to sell him now. I've always liked Cash as an option anyway. I think he's someone good going forward. So yeah, I do like Villa assets personally. Looking at these fixtures, this is one of the biggest reasons why I've been looking at free hit this week, because I just like the idea of getting these players in for this week, and then their fixtures are pretty rubbish moving forward. Like, I'm looking at Son to Maddison if I don't free hit, but then I need to get Maddison out straight away pretty much because they got Brighton next week is not too bad, but then Liverpool, West Ham, it's not looking good, and I'm just looking at it and thinking it could be a good week to free hit. These are the kind of things I look for in a free hit. I look for it's good this week, but around this week it's rubbish, and that's exactly what you want in a free hit. And I don't know. There's that itch in the back of my head thinking it could be a really good week to do it. But yeah, as long as they do get those 2 weeks.
In as a Watkins owner, and if Villa get a double game week in 23, I feel like there's a transfer I would definitely want to make if I didn't have Watkins. But immediately in game week 24, I would, if I got Maddison in, immediately in game week 24, which is when Salah is back, I would be looking whether it's with a hit or not a hit. Maddison and Ronaldo out for Salah and whatever price I've got left. Brower at Southampton, who's just scored, by the way. And or one of the Watford strikers, but whoever I can afford there. And I quite like that. And so I think that's something for people perhaps keep in mind with the...
I think for me, if I was going to Maddison, I'd want to get Salah in somewhere else, but I think I'd go to Foden. I think I'd go to someone like that, because you look at City, they got Brentford, Norwich, in the next 2 weeks after that, and you can go Maddison for the 2 weeks and have these 3 fixtures, and then go to someone like Foden when he's back and fit, and he's got Brentford and Norwich. I quite like that, as long as he plays, obviously.
Well, that's the thing with Foden. I mean, I know he had COVID, but my experience of owning Foden has been rubbish. I got him in. Yeah. He then went out for a drink with Jack Grealish, then was out of the team, then came back, then got COVID. And earlier in the season, people would have got him in, and then he found he's on the bench, and then getting substituted, and sometimes he scores double digits. Sometimes it's not my kind of player, I don't think, in FPL.
He's not, is he? He's the antithesis of what you normally go for.
I know, and so for me, City's fixtures, as we can see here, Southampton, Brentford, and Norwich. I mean, it's brilliant. But I would perhaps be looking at another defender. I just think
I would. Yeah, I do agree with you. I do like their defenders. I think someone like Laporte has been overlooked a lot this year. I think he's a good player to go for. Yeah,
but it's I mean, I might just hold my hands up with Foden. He's the one that's going to get away. It's just not for me. Good luck those who get him in though. But not for me. Let's have a look at our community team. So we're managing this on behalf of a top manager who's taken a break for a season. So this is the team that we've got at the moment, and on the face of it, there looks to be some problems, but it's actually doing quite well. It was well over 300k. We've got a 50k rank rise so far. He's about 200. I can't remember what he is exactly. 200 and it's about 250ish k at the moment. We have 47 points, so we just used 2 free transfers last week. We've got Bowen as captain. We've got Antonio, and he's got Diop as well. So we've got 3 players to go. He's on 47. Nice green arrow. I would say is looking like a much better green arrow in a nice place there. I think the 2 issues there. Zaha is obviously red flagged and could move to a Leicester midfielder, whoever we can afford there, or Lucas Moura. One of those 2 would be a good double game week investment there, because we already have King, we already have Ronaldo, so we've got captaincy shouts there, and we've got some good single game week players in there like Jota, Cancelo, and we've got some Aston Villa coverage there with Target and Douglas Luiz should he play, so we've got some coverage there for the following week, so he's in a good shape really. So I don't know about you, but I'm looking at Salah and thinking we could just park him for a couple of weeks. I think so. Save Alex a hit, because we would have to hit him back in.
I think the biggest worry would have been if you hadn't had the other captaincy option, whereas you've got Ronaldo there. So I feel like you can bench Salah, and I feel like you can ride that out and have him straight ready, not having to worry about getting him back in. And I think Zaha to Moura or Maddison makes a lot of sense. I think that team looks in good shape.
Yeah, I think it is actually. So whilst it looks, there's lots of flags, and it's actually doing really well this week, and it's got a nice plan, I think. So yeah, with all the COVID and the way FPL managers have been impacted, there's something quite satisfying in saying, right, we're just going to bench Salah and still try and if we can get a green arrow by benching Salah next week and not taking a hit, I think that would be, I don't know about you, but it would be my greatest ever achievement in FPL managing someone else's team.
I think that team's got every chance of getting a green, and when you look at it in game week 24, you've already got Salah. I think that team would be laughing personally, and with those Villa assets on the bench as well.
Yeah, definitely. And so I've also mentioned you've got Ramsdale there in goal, and Arsenal do have a double coming up soon.
They do have blanks as well.
They do have blanks as well. So
who have they got on? Who's he got on the bench?
Foster,
I can't see
who should be back by then, hopefully. That could be. We could be looking at a goalkeeper, but nevertheless, we'll have Salah hopefully. Now, round about this time, Seb is compiling the questions that we're going to get from the live chat to do some quickfire questions to us. But Seb's not here because Seb has family commitments. So we're going to try and do that. So also I've got to press buttons and things for the show. And so it's difficult for me to then look at the live chat. So you're going to do that, put some quickfire questions to me. And then I have already got some questions for you from my fantasy football community team. Are you lonesome tonight? So thanks a lot to Ed, Roger, Rakshit, Ali, Druv, Samir, and all the others. I've got a whole lot of questions for you. So I'm all right there. So do you want to tell the live chat what you want from them and then take it from
Yes. So I'm so excited. I love stuff like this. So if you're in the chat, we've got over 500 of you in there, so we should have a few questions. Get your questions in now, but they can only have an answer that is one word. So don't ask us for, a whole novel on an answer. It can only be one word. And basically, I'm just going to take whatever questions I see and I'm going to ask them to Joe. I could even pipe in and give you an answer as well. So just get them in there now. This is your opportunity to get as many questions answered as possible. We're doing quite well for time. We've only been an hour so far. So we can answer quite a few questions, hopefully. So get them in now. We are more than we're more than happy to answer as many as possible.
Okay, so what we'll do is, whilst Andy does that, I'll put my bus team up as it is and talk a bit about that, and then Andy will talk about his, and then we're going to quick fire ourselves. So okay, here's my team. So this is my Game Week 22 team at the moment. Now, it's not the greatest, obviously, because I haven't been able to plan. Like, as all FPL managers at the moment, we can't plan at the moment. So it's basically, we're reacting really quickly at deadline. So this is the team I've sort of ended up with. And Son would have been great. He would have been my captain. So at the moment, I've got a 3-4-3 with Ramsdale, Cancelo, Reguilon, Alexander-Arnold, who is flagged, but I expect him not to be because it was quite a while ago he had his positive test and apparently he's okay. Jota, Bowen, Gallagher, who plays Brighton. Son is there at the moment, but I'll talk about him in a minute. I've got Watkins against Manchester United. My feeling is that the Aston Villa players are just going to go mad against Manchester United because they were the better team.
Stop it.
Stop it. I would be annoyed if I were there. I've also got Antonio against Leeds. There's no way he's going out. So, and then I've got Ronaldo as my captain against Villa and Brentford. On my bench, I've got Steele from Brighton, so I'm not expecting him to play, so that's fine. I've got Martinelli as my first sub. So the issue I've got is, do I bench one of Gallagher? I've got to bench one of Gallagher, Watkins, or Martinelli, and I just think Gallagher can do well, and it's just a derby, but Martinelli's also in a derby and he could also do well, but I feel confident I've got a good first sub, put it that way. I've got Diop against Leeds. I've got a good second sub, I think, much maligned, but could get me something. And Livramento, who may require surgery, so he needs to go at some point. So Son out for Maddison or Lucas Moura is going to be what I'm looking at, but probably Maddison. And please, fingers crossed, no hits. I've taken 3 -8s in a row. I don't want, and I'm actually up on the deal, all of them. But I don't want any more hits. I just want to have a game week with no hits. So yeah, Andy,
nice.
Do you want to talk about? Right, I've got 2 pictures, 1 screen.
Yes.
So I've got.
So it's my bust team and my free hit team, isn't it?
Yes.
So I am really torn. Basically, I'm torn between the 2. I feel like it's a good week to free hit as long as all the fixtures happen. But I look at my team, and actually my team isn't that badly set up for this week. I've got Antonio, I've got Bowen, I've got Jota, I've got Trent, and I've got good single game week players. So I'm kind of torn which way to go at the moment. I've got King, but really I want Dennis. My bench is looking... Son would go and become either Maddison or Moura. Probably Maddison, if I'm honest. Gray's got a nice fixture. I've got Rudiger's got a double game week. So I've got Lloris, Rudiger, King that have double game weeks, and I would have Maddison that would as well. And then I'd probably take Livramento out and bring in a potentially a Spurs defender, but that would mean I'm playing 5-3-2, which is a little bit off. But yeah, so I'm looking at, I'll probably just do Son to Maddison and not take a hit. And I don't think that team's looking that bad. No. But it's not as fun as having Ronaldo, Kane and Dennis up front. So I don't know. The other thing I don't like is I don't really have a captain option. That's the other thing I'm not a massive fan of. Because I don't think I really would, to be perfectly honest. I don't think there's a captain in there for me. I'd probably have to go with someone like Jota or Trent, which I don't feel overly happy with in a double game week. So I'm torn between the 2 at the moment. But you can see after all the discussions we've had tonight, my team is basically set up exactly how I've said. I've not lied to you. It's exactly what I feel with my free hit team. So yeah, we'll see. I'm very torn between the 2. Just for
the benefit of those listening on the podcast, just remind us what your free hit would look like. Free hit team.
Sorry, yes. So my free hit team would be De Gea and Sanchez in goal. It would be Tarkowski, Alexander-Arnold, Sanchez, Rudiger, and Cucurella at the back. Remember, in Rudiger, I got in very, very early, so I'm getting him a lot cheaper than a lot of you, unfortunately. I've got Dewsbury Hall. Because I think, yeah, I know. I've got Jota, Maddison, Mount, and Tielemans. Now, I think Tielemans would probably become Moura in this team, mainly because if Leicester miss a game, I'm missing out 3 midfielders. I've only got 2 midfielders left then, so I don't want that. So I think Tielemans would become Moura just because of safety. And then I've got Ronaldo, Kane, and Dennis up top.
I was just thinking, but Moura plays Leicester.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, all right, Joe. I'd have to think about that, wouldn't I? But I think... Yeah, because you don't know which Leicester game that he would miss, though, would you? He could miss the first one or the second one. You never know. So
I would be tempted by Jorginho. Just get the penalty taker for a good side.
Yeah.
Or perhaps a Trossard.
Trossard's the one. Trossard's the one I've toyed with having. Yeah. I do like Trossard. And I just, like I said, I've already explained it. I do like him in a game week like this. So. Yeah, and then Ronaldo or Kane as captain. Yeah. I'm quite torn between those 2 as well. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm sure people in the chat, I can't see what they're putting at the moment because I'm looking at the questions. Okay. But I feel quite good about that free hit team.
I think it looks good. It's a good upside team. But my only caveat with that is, so for example, when I played my free hit, it was because I was absolutely certain that my team I was going into it with would definitely do worse, and so it transpired, even though the free hit wasn't a success. Whereas I look at your team here, and with the simple removal of Son to Maddison or Mount or Tielemans or any of those midfielders, and you've already got a Watford striker, and I think it's the risk of Bowen and Antonio against Leeds could be huge. And it's actually Gray against Norwich could be huge as well. So I think there is a risk of transfer. And Cancelo against Chelsea. It's the risk of transferring out upside players for other upside players. And that's what, when I look at that, I just think, I can't believe in 38 game weeks that would be the best free hit, even though it is a double. But I don't know.
Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? It's, I am quite torn, and I'm going to leave it to the last minute because things could change, and we everything's got to be left to last minute at the moment. So, I'm really between the two at the moment, but we'll see. Like I said, I'll be interested to see what people think in the chat.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would safely say that your bus team, with the addition of a Leicester midfielder, is still better. Is better than my team, and I'm fairly happy with my team going into game week 22. So that's the way I would look at it, but. We got some quickfire questions then.
Lovely. Right, here we go then.
Okay.
So, Tejas Sajay says, Mount or Tielemans, Joe?
Tielemans.
By the way, if we do want to answer in a slightly more than one word, it's absolutely fine, because sometimes it does need a bit of context.
Okay.
Kieran Glennon says, keep Sterling or sell?
Keep.
Gerard McDonough says, shall I drop Smith Rowe for a Villa asset?
2 words. No, wait.
Nice. I thought it was going to be no way then. Eddie Casey says, is Gundogan a keep or sell?
Keep.
Ooh. Daniel Blythe says, would you rather Brighton win the league or England win the World Cup?
Brighton win the league. That'd be amazing.
Joshua King is in the chat and he says, does Smith Rowe have to go?
Yes.
Ooh. James Leach Poet says, would you free hit with 3 double game week players or less?
No.
Ooh. Aaron Brown says, would you transfer out Antonio or Watkins for King or Dennis?
None of them.
One of them. Which one?
I don't want to transfer any of them out. They're all really good. If I owned, I wouldn't own all 4.
So basically, I think it's a really good question because
if I had
do you transfer out Antonio or Watkins?
Okay.
Antonio's got a great fixture. Watkins got great fixtures moving up for a double game week Watford striker, basically.
If I had to, very reluctantly, I would transfer out Antonio, even though he faces Leeds. But as I said, none. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, Stepan says, would you bench boost this week? Yes or no?
No.
Yeah, no.
I'll be lucky to have a bench.
No. Amadarad says, Lloris or Sanchez for his free hit team?
Oh, Lloris.
Yeah, I like Lloris as well. Jack Brockenshire, in your opinion, who is your best Son replacement?
Madison.
Allison?
Madison.
Oh, Madison.
Alison Madison, his sister.
Would you? James Leach says, would you captain King over Trent?
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Oh no, it's just gone all the way back to the bottom. Oh, Ali Boskurt says, would you get Dean in if he moved to Villa?
Yes.
Nice. Sorry, I was on a really lovely one and it's all just dropped to the bottom. Paul Gunning says, Barkman, yes or no this week?
No.
James Leach says, would you keep Chelsea defence in free hit?
No.
Bert Van Peckdegum says, NFL or FPL? I know what for me.
FPL.
Oh, I'm an NFL fan for me. And should we do 2 more? Come on. Stephen Hamilton, would you free hit with Alonso, David De Gea, and Dallo as my only doublers?
Right, okay.
And he's got Son in his team as well.
What was it again?
He's got Alonso, David De Gea, and Dallo, and he's got Son. Would you free hit that team?
No.
No, I wouldn't. I think I'd be getting rid of Dallo as well. I think I'd be sorting that team out a bit.
Just 2 hits. One hit.
And I think that's about it. Oh, Torben Nielsen says, would you keep Son?
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. He's going to be out for longer than we thought, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, last one. Ali Bozturk says, one for Joe. Andy or Seb?
They both have their merits.
Oh, that is such a answer. No, terrible. He's not here. You can say me. He's probably not going to watch it, Joe.
Look, okay. If I'm on a show with you, I would say you. If I'm on the show with just Seb, and Seb asked me the question, I would say Seb. How about that?
So, because you're on the show with me, you're answering Andy. Well done, Joe. I like it.
And if I was on the show with Seb, I would say Seb.
Right. My questions then, please.
Right. Okay. Not so many. So I'll go this. So I won't read out who asked them, but I've said all the names before. So it's my the fantasy football community team I'm in. Double Gameweek 22 strategy: Dullard or Maverick?
Do you know what? I'm kind of answering what I should do with free hit. I'm going to go Dullard.
2021-22, Dullard or Maverick?
Dullard.
Best Son replacement?
Maddison.
Same with me. Salah, hold or sell?
You still own him. Hold.
Which chip is the biggest trap?
Bench boost.
Plan ahead or 1 week at a time?
1 week at a time.
Kane or Ronaldo captain?
Kane.
Son, hold or sell? Same as your one.
Sell.
Free hit, Double Gameweek 22. Just your instinct.
Team dependent.
It's team dependent, but your instinct, is it worth it?
No.
Maybe you've answered your free hit.
I know.
And Samir asks, okay, these got three here. So Samir asks, Dennis or King?
Dennis.
Ramsdale or De Gea?
De Gea.
-12 or Wildcard?
Ooh. Wild card.
Well, -12 or free hit?
Free hit.
Okay, that's it. That's good.
Lovely.
Tense,
I enjoy that. I love those. It was, yeah. I feel like you're on a mastermind.
I know. You didn't even get the blooming Seb or Joe one.
I love that question. Oh,
okay, right. I think we've covered everything there. Thanks so much, everyone in the live chat. Well over 500 of you. Thanks a lot. Do press the like button now or later or whenever. And thanks a lot for the updates on the Southampton Brentford game. Southampton up 4-1. So
yeah.
But let's put that Brentford slide up again. This Brentford slide here about the double game week, just ignore it. So we don't really want to look at that anymore. So I'll go back to the intro screen. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a great double game week. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Avoid Brentford. It might be the best way. So, but in the meantime, it's a goodbye from me.
And a goodbye from me.
Goodbye all.